Hey everybody, thanks for coming fishing with me today. It is early fall fishing on Lake Darbonne in Louisiana. And you can see my lure dropping down right there. Now I'm casting way out. That's around 40 feet away from my boat. And so it looks a little messy. But early in the day it was windy. You can see this fish. I dropped right down on him. There were two targets there. I missed my first one, but I was able to drop on that one that was hanging onto that timber right there and got him. Fall fishing on Lake Darbonne is always tricky, but it's great. It's tricky because it gets windy. That's good fish, really good fish. That was the first fish of the day. But it's tricky because it gets windy, and so even though it didn't look real windy right here, my boat was slapping a little bit, and these fish were really spooky this morning. So I was having to set up really far away from them. And you can see right here, I'm going after one that's like 30 or 35 feet away. But later on in the day, the wind died down, and I was able to close that distance and really target a lot more fish. I missed my target, but watch this. I came over this little mess in the middle of that tree. Yeah, right where that tree forks, there was a whole lot of movement right there. And I couldn't make out what it was, but I dragged through it anyway. This is not a crappie. What that was a little school of catfish, and I pulled one of them out of there. There he is right there. There were a lot of catfish moving around today. Pretty good ones. But we eat those too, so I keep them when I catch them, but it's really not what I was out here for. Now if you look down around 32 feet away from the boat and around 14 feet deep, you can see a mark that I'm going after. He's stationary and he's suspended. That's the one I was targeting, and I almost didn't get down to him in time. I lost track of my lure. There it is. But I'm using that foot fisher, and that lets me turn that transducer pole with my foot. Oh my goodness. I yanked him up a little too quick and got my camera messy. Luckily, it took me a few minutes to find the next fish, so that little bubble will be gone for the next one. But I'm using that foot fisher. It lets me turn my transducer pole with my foot, so that as that wind blows me around and I lose track of my lure, I can just slide my foot around and find it again. Here's another one that's suspended right there, and he's closer to the boat. The wind is, yeah, there he is. That looked like a smaller fish. Yeah, that's a smaller fish. The wind has died down. You can see it.
A little baby.
Yeah, there he goes back. Way too small. Too small to fillet. There's no minimum size on Lake Darbonne, but anything, y'all know how little ones are. If you fillet them, you're not gonna get any meat out of them. So I throw the small ones. Anything under 9 inches goes back in the water, usually for me, depending on the day. There's those days when the 8 inchers might go in the boat, depending on how many I've caught and how many hours I've been out there. That one's going in the cooler for sure. That was a big fish. There were big fish everywhere today. I did wind up hitting my limit of big ones. Here's the lure coming down. You can keep 7 fish that are 12 inches or bigger on Lake Darbonne, and I got those. And then I started trying to target the smaller ones, but it got so hot out here. It's fairly early fall in Louisiana, North Louisiana. There he goes. He's chasing. It took him a minute. And right here, if y'all are still watching, we're 4 minutes in. I'm going to give you a little secret out here. This is my only trick I know for fall fishing. You saw how that fish followed. Now, I used to have a lot of these that would not commit in those situations. They'll just follow forever and then they won't hit. I figured out, for fall, for me, you have to use lures with lots of good fish. You have to use lures with action on the tail. For me, if you have a lot of followers and they're not committing, start using a thumper tail or a curly tail or something with action on it. And it has changed my hookup and my success rate with those fish that follow and don't commit. I hardly ever have any that do that anymore. Now, if I find the right lure that has that action, look at this one, stationary. There, that's a big fish. Y'all saw that when I set that hook, he just about didn't move. That's a big fish. I mean, like whenever I set that hook hard and he just stayed there. That's a good one. Oh, this is the big, yeah, this is a big fish right here. This is the big one.
This is a 15-inch crappie. 15. Ooh, we
Tried to stay quiet there so you could hear me talking. That's a big one.
1.6 pounds. That's not bad. Not as big as it. 15 inch though. 15-inch crappie. 1.6 pound, 15-inch crappie. It's a good Lake Darbonne crappie right there.
That's a great fish. It said 1.6 pounds. That's really not that big, not that heavy for that length. It was 15 inch, but only 1.6 pounds. So, you know, they slim up a little bit in the summer a lot of time, but they're about to start putting on weight because they're going to start hitting really. Oh, there's another one sitting right on that timber. So they're on the timber right now, and it's early fall. Pretty soon they're going to be pushing off of this, going out towards deeper water and suspending. But it's kind of a magic time. You get, you know, a few weeks of this while they're on this timber in the fall, and then they'll start suspending. And it's if you can tough out the heat, sometimes we get better weather than this. But right now it's been in the mid-90s in North Louisiana. But that nighttime temperature has been dropping, and so the fish are going right where they're supposed to go this time of year. And they're starting to bite really, really good. I wound up with 29 fish today, and I stayed out here for maybe 4 hours, maybe 5. But I got 29 crappie in that little bit of time before it just got too hot for me to stand it. And you know, I'm only showing the first few of this day. I'll wind up putting out the next part on another day. But this was just a wonderful day on the water, and you can see the water was pretty smooth. The wind stayed with us in the morning, but I kind of lost sight of my lure here. You can see me searching around for it, moving my foot fisher around. There it is. I got right over him. This fish was almost under the boat. There he is. And so that wind died down enough where I wasn't getting that hole slap, and I was able to get to, right on top of a lot of these fish, which is great. Especially great if you're taking folks out, that may not be used to casting, to get their jig right where it needs to be and drag it over these fish. If you can get right on top of them, it's a lot better for folks that aren't used to come out here and fishing. That's good. Look at him. See him chasing? He's chasing. Oh, he chased it way up. That's a tiny fish. Yeah, this is the little bitty one. So that fish chased 10 feet before he finally hit it. I think the only reason they chase like that on days like this is if you have a lot of action on that tail. I can't tell you how much I used to have fish chase and just never hook up. They never would hit. But if you put some action on that tail, and you figure out the colors they want that day, I have a lot more success now with those fish. Yeah, there's a company called Big Bite Baits, and they make thumper tails specifically for crappie. Now, I'm not affiliated with them. They don't pay me nothing. I buy them just like y'all do. But they make some great lures that have these little thumper tails on them, that are smaller. Like they're perfect size for crappie fishing. They used to be only bass fishing lures that had those thumper tails, but those any brand will probably work. But that's the ones I've been using, having tons of success with out here. They work great. Look at this fish. So he was way down there. He chased it. Oh, this is a neat setup. So that fish was sitting out there and looking straight up. I thought this might have been a bass, the way that he was sitting. But right here, I realized what it was. You see that tail? How it just never stops moving? That's a catfish. That's how catfish look. That's what they do. That tail just never, ever stops. But watch, he went looking for that lure, but he couldn't find it. I was able to get it out to him again and hook up. But, oh, man, he darted. He darted straight down. That's great. Yeah, I caught a lot of catfish today. Like I said earlier, they were biting really good, and they were out hunting. They weren't just sitting on the bottom like they do sometimes of the year. These catfish I was catching were up, hunting around for bait fish, just like a crappie or a bass would do. Catfish. Another good catfish. Yep. Oh, look at that water now. Just like glass. I mean, it's just, look at that. No wind at all. Not even a ripple on that water, really. It was barely enough wind to hold me in spot. Okay, you see me coming down there. I'm probably targeting that fish that's on that middle stump around 12 feet away from the boat. Yeah, that's what I'm going after. Those that were stationary like that, if they're on structure, yeah, here he comes. There he goes. Got him. If they're on structure, it's so much easier to target them because they won't move around like nearly as much. That was a fairly small one, that last one, but he must have been 9 or better. That's all I'll put in here today. Like I said, I wound up 29. I will cut the rest of this this day and try to get it edited again soon. But fall fishing's on. I know it's still hot right now in North Louisiana, but if you're out and fishing, or if you're kind of debating, the fish are biting. So don't wait too long for it to cool down. You can get out there right now and fill up your coolers. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye, everybody.